Okay, so I'm Reverend Samuel Ojiayo, and this is Anglican Church of Kenya, Shaurimoyo Parish. We once again want to welcome you to encouragement in this particular moment. We know what the country and the whole globe has gone through, and so we continue to encourage each other. And you could be home, you could be wherever, but we want to encourage you to keep on keeping on in faith and to keep on being patient with God. I am encouraged by one person called Job. And if you look at the book of Job, you go through, you know what Job went through. And Job is one of the people in the Bible or in history that can be said to have gone through the most difficult moments in their life. But he was patient with God, and throughout his life there's no time that he changed and said, I no longer want to be with God because of the difficult situation I'm going through. So I'd like us to read from Job chapter 42, verse 16. Job chapter 42 and verse 16. The Bible records that after this, Job lived 140 years and saw his children and grandchildren for 4 generations. So we can see that that is the climax of the blessings of Job. That Job, after all that he had gone through, he was blessed by God, and we know that he lost children, he lost, hope, he lost, many opportunities in life. And he lost his properties, which are very dear things to us as human beings. But then Job did not give up in God. Job, was patient with God. And after all these temptations and trials, we see his life being rejuvenated again. And he comes back to normal. And when you are through with your difficulties, is when you can realize the great, how great God is and the faithfulness of God. But when you are right inside the problems or the challenges of life, you can sometimes, as a human being, begin to think, is God really there for me? Is God really watching? Because during this pandemic period, people have lost jobs. People, some of our dear ones have been affected in one way or the other through the disease. Some have been infected, and it comes with economic, constraints and whatnot, attachments. So it becomes a very rough time. It becomes a very difficult time. It becomes a time when people's mind can come off, and they can begin to think that God might not really be at it. But I want to encourage us, like, Job was encouraged. He was patient with God, and at some point in time, the wife told him to curse God and die. Why should you continue to suffer like this? But I like the way he responded, that you're thinking like a woman. We have been feeling good all this time, and God has been good. Why then should God be a different person now that we are going through challenges? So I want to encourage us that God is at it, and God would not change because of a situation. Sometimes we have to be tested. Sometimes we have to go through trials and temptations so that we are made to stronger than before. If you would just be living a free life, a life that is smooth, a life without challenges, a life where you just press a button, at the press of a button, you have all that you want. You have butter on your, in your bread, and you just celebrate every time and again. Sometimes we forget that even God is there. But when the food or whichever provision that we need is not there, and we trust God and God provides, then we begin to call him a provider. So there is a sense in which God teaches us in whichever circumstance that we go through. And Job, we can see the climax. After the genesis of all the challenges that he went through in life, he lost his sheep, he lost his cattle, he lost his children, he lost his properties, began even to lose some hope in God. But after this, we see that there is a change in life, and God rejuvenated his life. And this is a great encouragement to us that we have to, to emulate and see that there is great hope in God. Even when things are hard, even when times are hard, we still can hope that God is going to do something. That God, after there is what we call post-corona era, which I'm very hopeful and I'm sure in the Lord will make us to live. And of course, there are a lot of things we have learned. We have not just not learned anything. We have learned so many things, and our God has taught us to know and to fully trust in Him. And so I want to encourage all of us to be patient with God, and God is at it. And after all this, we know that there is victory and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So, dear fellow Christians, we want to raise our hope, and whichever circumstance that we go through, let us face the cross and let us leave all our issues to the cross as we follow the directives of the government. And I know all will be well. Our God will never leave us nor forsake us, like He was at it when Job was going through turmoil, a very turbulent kind of life that touched his faith, that touched his properties, that touched his children. Job still remained to be patient with God. Let us remain to be patient with God, and God will continue to show Himself for us. And I want to assure us that God is at it, and God has not left us to be like orphans. He will take care of us, and after this, we will live a very, nice life after the post-corona era. So may the Lord bless us. May the Lord continue to raise us up in faith. And our God is a faithful one. As we continue in this era, let us not forget to pray. Let us pray. Let us have fellowship. Let us continue to do all that appertains to a Christian life. And the Lord will bless us. In the name of God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Hallelujah.